All set. All right, we're good.
We're good?
Yeah.
All right, did everybody have a minute to, take a look at the agenda for today?
No.
Okay, here, I have a copy here.
Oh, okay.
Did you guys, I know Dan had emailed the 24 Maple Street plans. Kristen, did you have a minute to take a peek at those?
I did.
Okay, good. Ruth?
I think, yeah, the main thing is if we have any questions or discussion, and then we need to set a hearing date. And then I think it looks like there's a tiny bit that has to be demolished. So I think to be safe, it would be just do a joint hearing with the Historic Commission, so they can sign off on demo delay, which it
Okay,
sounds like it's just a tiny piece of the back of the house.
okay,
Are we meeting with them also after?
They're gonna meet at 7, so I had mentioned this to them on their agenda. But in either case, there wasn't enough time to post a full hearing. I mean, I think it's kind of right on the fence as to whether demo delay would be required, but at least this way, nobody can question it.
let's go ahead and then, put that up on the screen and.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking through did we vote on like minutes or anything?
No,
I don't even remember where we're at with this.
We need someone to record.
Yeah, all right, so let me find the plans again. This.
Anyone wants to look at the big blueprints too? Okay.
Share.
It's pretty much like what's up here though, right? It's all the same, yeah.
When are you planning to send?
It depends on how long this takes. I'm also, so technically the house is still in my parents' name.
Mhm.
And they have to sell it to us before we start
Like a deed
construction, because if
transfer,
there's any
yeah.
ongoing construction, then the bank won't.
Mhm.
You can have permits set and ready to go, but you can't start any construction.
Right,
So hopefully within like the next couple months or so.
Good.
nice.
What, good one?
Yeah.
I don't understand, making this full screen,
Yeah.
and won't share the full screen.
They wanted to wait till the end of summer to do the front test, and I'm like, I can't wait that long. Just because we've had so.
So are
much
you
rain.
upgrading your septic system and everything?
Yeah. Yeah, the septic that's there is so old, there's no record in town of what it even is.
So it's a cesspool.
Probably.
And
And
then,
it's set, my dad said it, he thinks it was set for 2 people and we're,
like a 2-bedroom cess?
Yeah.
Probably.
So I just saw this, this is two-tone siding is shown to delineate new from existing,
Okay.
new siding trim to match existing. So this is the house. Maybe to tell you, because I'll just,
So, okay, so that's the house now. And I think it like dormer, okay, see, there's like a little.
So you
dormer
want
in the
out?
back.
Oh, just,
up a little bit and then back.
what's going on?
No. I mean, it'll match what's there, like it might be a little shorter in some spots than what's there.
Are you taking the roof
Yeah.
off the front of the house and then kind of going, so increasing the height, is that what kind of you're doing, or?
So I think, like where it connects to the dormer, they do have to like cut into some of it to raise the hallway.
Yeah, so
But
probably.
I think
gonna
that
raise it.
it's just that one part that they're going to cut
Yeah.
out and the rest will be like a roof on a roof.
Okay, so what part is the original house?
Right,
I think this.
right here, that's the front. That's what we were saying, there's no street facing view.
This is
So
the two
it's all
sides of the
side.
Okay.
But I
So
see
this
these
end though is Joe, right?
Yeah, I can get up and show you on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your pointer.
So currently, like this square right here and this little bit is what's there.
Okay,
So this whole second floor here and this section and then all of that will be
All
added
of
on.
that,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Mhm. So how much more space is that gonna give you, how many rooms? Don't say square feet, because that.
so they're not pouring a foundation, they're just gonna do all those little footings?
We're we're wiggling on that.
Okay.
Cause I didn't want a full basement, cause I figured it would be hard to connect it to the current cellar that's there, cause
Okay.
it's already like half of it is stone and half of it is cement.
Yeah.
Because they added on to it.
Mhm.
So we had talked about doing the pillars initially, but now we just met with, Rogers
Shan,
to talk, his son,
Jimmy,
yes, to talk about just doing like a 4 or 5 foot foundation, so it's just a crawl space and not, a
Not
full, right, and then comparing prices.
Yeah.
Cause in order to do the pillars, like one, they have to be really specific with where they dig and where
Yeah.
they pour. But also the amount of like extra wood and insulation we'd have to put under our house, cause there'd be like a 2.5 foot gap underneath
Right.
that we would have to weather. So in the end, it's probably gonna, yeah. So, but we're, working on getting quotes and comparing prices on that.
Yeah,
right now.
I know, right? It's always so much.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's completely irrelevant. I was just curious.
It's fine.
so how many more rooms is it gonna give you?
It'll give us, so there'll be a bathroom, you're good,
Which one do you want?
sorry, there'll be,
Which
there'll be a bathroom and a bedroom up here, and then there'll be like living room, kitchen, another bedroom and bathroom there. And then, sorry, there's also like a mudroom
Just
right in here.
And what'll be in the front, in the old house?
Probably a kid's room, because my kids' toys are in my living room right now.
Mhm.
And then, like a study desk area.
So you won't have a kitchen in the front area?
So, but,
It isn't this.
Oh, it doesn't matter, I'm just.
no, I'm fine, I'm just trying to think of,
Ruth and I wanna know all about
Yeah.
what's going on, so we can
Damn.
have tea.
alright, so now this is rubric, so this is the current. Right now, my kitchen is in like this little square.
Yeah.
So where we bump out, like under the second story will be the kitchen dining room area. It'll just be like one big open
Okay.
area
Yeah. Mhm.
instead of my little tiny square kitchen.
Nice.
Lovely. I would just say that my biggest thing is materials, how it's gonna look from the street. And it sounds like,
And the front is gonna stay the same anyway.
Do you know, are any of the windows original windows? It looks like.
Yeah, I think most of them on the first floor are, but some of them, like, the wood is rotted.
Right.
oh, right.
A lot of the panes are cracked.
So I guess like that's another thing, right? So with the window replacement, you know, what are you gonna, what you're gonna go for? Like 2/2, 6/6, 12/12, you know what I mean? So like, think about the panes, right? And so right now, Dan, if you show the picture of the
I was
house,
gonna look up the macros and see if we can find a picture of it.
I think from the quick view that I saw, it looked like it was 2/2.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, 2/2, it seems to
It's
be
split in the middle,
what's good.
Yeah.
Probably,
that's what mine was in my little house.
Yeah,
I wanna look at the macros and see if I can find the old house.
Okay.
What was this week?
yeah, so I would say,
Just the front windows or like all of the windows on the bottom floor?
Dan would have to pull it up on street
Well,
view
so
here.
this is-
and then I can- Okay,
This is
yeah,
the original
Yeah,
house
so,
from
so,
the
But they're, I
80s.
don't think they're like that now.
It looks like there's some sort of storm window over them now. Or something on this.
like
No, but
a,
this,
right, go zoom in.
Oh, you can almost kind of see it in 2 parts in this one. Let me try. to Google
thinking
it.
about washing a window.
oh,
When you-
there they are.
There's 2, there's like the size of 2 of them.
Yeah, so 2/2, do you see that?
Yeah.
So,
Let me look at Google and see.
I mean,
So could you keep it that way for?
a lot
Yeah, just
of
get
people
similar.
are putting those in right now anyway, I think they're very popular.
Yeah. going back
So I don't think you'll have any problem getting those, I don't think you'll find that they're like custom ordered orders.
Yeah, I think they're all 2 of them. I mean, I think, and it's the same discussion we just had with Rich about his property.
Right.
trying to, it's not necessarily realistic to unfortunately say what's there, but
Just kind of replicating what's there.
Yeah.
if we can at least imagine.
No, that's fine. I was just starting to look into, like, I have all the new windows that he put in here and what we should put, but I was just starting to look into what to do with all the old ones.
Let's see what this says about this house. 9. Yeah.
You don't really have much land on either side of you.
What's that?
They don't have much land on either side.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, how are you upgrading your septic?
There is, so. This is where it gets, so this is
You guys are-
24A, right behind it is also
Oh,
part of the property.
Oh, okay, good.
So there's there's not a lot of space width-wise, but there's like 2.5 acres of open field in the back.
Oh,
So
so
this
you
is-
own, that will go with that
Yes.
house?
This
Oh,
parcel,
that's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Today when the engineer was there, he's like, you might be able to squeeze it in towards the back of 24. If not, they'll just put it back on 24A and then have a pump going.
where's
like
the
a
well?
long pipe.
To the front?
The well is on the side, that's all, we're also planning on moving that.
Yeah.
This is right up against the driveway and right on the property line.
Is it a shallow well or?
It's a hand-up well, yeah.
Yeah.
It needs to be replaced.
You're gonna
as
need-
well.
Yeah.
Throw that in, throw that in.
Yep, it's on my list.
We have a foundation.
No.
Think, well, you're basically building a brand new house.
I'm gonna say something like building a whole house,
Yeah.
really.
Yep,
So we have windows, we have siding, I know you said you like vinyl, we like to see some
What?
sort of like,
and then so my house is two-toned, are you okay if I go with just one? And have
we
it
cannot dictate color.
No, I mean.
Yeah, oh, like
Like-
siding?
Yes, like there's
Oh,
the
okay.
shingle siding and then the front is like the. I forget the name, but like the
Yeah,
single
yeah.
board.
So
That's what I
you're,
was asking about before, why is it totally different?
I
It's so
don't-
weird.
I mean, I personally, I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think it's,
Right, so the front looks like normal siding, but then the side is all the shingled wood.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't,
I think
more like
that,
a Cape Cod.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what they were going for, and
Yeah.
that's why it's blue and.
what was
that
the
way,
original and closer?
can you go back?
Oh, it looks like, so this photograph is probably from the 70s.
Dan, you're ruining
I
it.
But this isn't historic, this is only from
Oh.
the 70s, this is when the record was done. What we need to look for is those historic home photos. I can find it, but I have to close.
I'm sure if they pulled off a couple of pieces, they could see what was under there.
It's under there.
Have you ever?
Kathy would know.
Well, not necessarily.
But again, to my point, I don't feel like you need to, I don't feel like, we're not gonna come in here and say you have to make like a Cape Cod style and do the shingles and the clapboard,
No, I'd rather just have everything.
like clapboard,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I personally don't think that fits the district, that weird.
No, I think that that was a later,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not, but I feel like that was a decision made in a
Ask
different point
Kathy
in time.
if she ever found historic, I mean, maybe your parents know if there's historic pictures of this house.
I'm sure there is somewhere.
The problem is they're like filed under the name, so it's hard to like, you have to know what name you're looking for.
Search Dudley, because I think
Yeah.
that's been in my family
I was
for
gonna say.
200 years.
Yeah. More so than the one next door.
Yes.
Yeah.
Haven't
Right.
Dudley's been here for 200 years?
More than that, yeah.
Wow.
I think the big white house that used to be on the corner,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, used to be owned by
Oh,
my
that-
like great
Oh,
grandfather.
wow.
Silos Dudley.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
Well, this property we're in right now.
the one
came from
that's Charles
Silas.
River now, yeah, the one that they
No,
moved down the
the
street.
one they tore
from
down.
Oh.
yeah, my parents were not happy about that.
There's nothing wrong with that house. Shame.
The thing that's frustrating is now it's just, 20 years later, it's a vacant lot. At least the bank, remember when they moved the house, but you have a new building, the property's been developed.
I thought that was a win-win.
Right, it wasn't great.
Moving the house to the bank.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Are you talking about the inn that was across the street?
No, the Fino, whatever was on the corner of the Fino property.
That wasn't,
There
that
was
was
some
like a
building
long
demolished.
white,
Yeah, the tax house.
the tap, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
With it, yeah.
Didn't
the
they have,
apple-
wasn't it an
apple
inn at
was.
some point?
No, I don't think so. The inn is the one on this side.
The inn is one is still.
The inn is.
I do remember the one that with the
Yeah.
tap furniture.
Kathy's the next one.
Yeah, why did they tear? I thought maybe there's something wrong with that.
No, I think he got down to dead at night, wanted to build this
Yeah.
thing and then
He was
couldn't.
gonna build a CVS and then they backed
Yeah,
down, I
too.
think, because there's so much pushback from there, tearing it down.
Yeah, a couple of people from the historical society were up and they almost got run over by them.
Well, that's why demo delay exists, was because of that property. There was a cease and desist from the state that got ignored,
And he
It was
did it
old.
anyway.
whole thing.
Yeah,
Now it's
did he get
Sound like-
fined or anything?
I don't know, but he doesn't have room for a whole water supply, so it's just stuck there.
It's on the historical society, they almost got run over.
Yeah.
We'll ask Kathy when she comes at 7 if she's has pictures of this, that's weird, I don't.
Well, I don't know where she'd have, I mean, the only pictures that she would have would be up at the historical society.
Yeah, well, if they have
I
tons
would
of stuff.
say
fixed
too, like, are you removing the ramp in the front? Or are you keeping the ramp, like, are you gonna do like different steps or something like that, maybe try and do something?
There are steps under it, I think they put that in for right now.
Yeah, for sure to be,
She should be at 7.
Yeah, okay,
So
so
that's
that's.
still under it.
Hi.
Yeah, I think they just put it over what was there, so if anything,
I think it's what do we say about.
that's not even on my page, I'm not worried.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
the stuff right
So
now.
I know that, I'm thinking like street facing, like how do we like maintain that, like that historic part of the house?
So, I really like, other than the siding.
Cause I wonder if there are granite steps under there, you just polish those up and use those.
It's been a while,
Yeah.
I'm trying to,
I bet
I think
they are.
like the walkway is stone,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the house next door, and I'm pretty sure there are granite steps under there. But I have no intention of tearing that up
No,
either, if
yeah.
anything, I just take the ramp
A lot of
down.
the houses do it.
Have like the old shield
Yeah.
stone
Yeah.
steps,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if it shows as good on that, this.
Yeah, but they tore up at my parents'
That's
house.
right.
Yeah.
You have to, you can't see. This, doesn't that look like a piece of something or something stone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
one of the
I mean, there's
walkways
definitely
is stone.
something under there. I bet if you pull up the old 1970s picture, you'd see it there.
Where's that?
I don't know, Dan.
400
400 tabs open.
Oh yeah, that looks like stairs, right?
Yeah,
Brick something.
Yeah,
cute.
That's the last step, right?
This is.
yeah, that'll be after everything else is done, and I'll worry about
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's
Right
fine.
now, I don't, especially.
Are you planting tulips? No, I'm just kidding. What are you gonna put in the front? But no, I think it's really just about the material, so.
Okay,
Yeah, we don't care
so
about
trying
the color.
to stick with wood.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't do like, if you don't wanna do handle the upkeep of the cedar clapboard, then I think hardy board. It's like a concrete, material that is used. You can just write down hardy board. It is usually more expensive than clapboard. Could possibly be more expensive than vinyl, so you might be better off going clapboard. But it's a nice product and, very little upkeep.
It comes factory painted though, right?
It does,
No,
I
you have to
think,
paint it.
yeah,
And then color,
we cannot dictate color,
okay.
so I mean, if you wanted to
I'm trying
paint it purple,
to
like we
find
can.
like a color similar to the blue that's on there.
Yeah. So his, Benjamin Moore has the historic palette,
collection, Yeah. I saw that.
yeah, so you can always reference that, and then I think Sherwin-Williams might have one too. So, I think between the two of them, you can find one, so the Benmore has there's a historic collection, and then there's another one, it's like a classic or something like that, but those are also nice, so there's different collections.
I'm just looking again, so I'm like, all this stuff about new construction in our guidance, you know, does the proposal have consistency and unity of form and deep, or no? How successful is the relationship between the proposal and its surroundings relative to setback heights, harmony, character, streetscape? So like, it seems like this is kind of in keeping with the rest of the district, even as an addition. You have some bigger houses, some smaller houses, I mean, you get, you know,
I think like pitch of roof and,
Yeah.
all of those things come into play, so I don't know,
like,
I
it looks
don't,
like.
I don't know what the pitch was, or,
It looks, I mean, it looks like that's kind of, you know, I'm just looking like the houses, they're all mean, they're all a little different, but you have, it's not like you have all tiny cottages and a big huge addition or something being proposed.
I think for me,
So I think
my
it needs all
biggest, yeah, like I know, I think it costs more money to have more of a pitch, but I think the more pitched you have your roof, the more,
I think, so for the back
keep it.
lower section, I
yeah,
asked for a lower pitch
Okay.
because, so I could fit a window on that wall.
Well,
okay.
you won't see
We
that.
can't, I'm not really, yeah,
Most of that'll be
I
probably
think-
not visible from the street. I mean, from the
Right,
street.
otherwise, the pitch on
Yeah,
the
you-
added is,
Thinking,
yeah, the normal
like I can see
level.
that front of this house, but you don't necessarily see, I mean, even that, you can just barely see this little outbuilding.
right, are you keeping your chimney, are you taking that out and redoing it? You know what I mean? Cause it's right
planning
there,
on keeping it,
yeah.
we just had it fixed.
I didn't
so-
see it in the plan, so that's why I was asking.
It's not on the drawings.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
where is it? It's on the.
So you might wanna ask Ken
Yep.
that, they may have to take it out when they're building. But, is there a fireplace there, or is that just for your
You're not
furnace?
gonna touch that firehouse, right?
There's no fireplace there, but it might, like where they're adding on the second floor, like they might hit the chimney a little bit towards the top.
I think it's like, would be like where my cursor is.
Yeah,
So I probably, of course, the other problem is it may not be, I don't know what the rules are.
are they gonna take out your furnace and do another furnace when they're down there, maybe? Cause they might just direct vent it and take your chimney out.
We're also in the process of figuring that out. Again, for the lower part, we're just gonna do mini splits. And there's
Okay,
also the architect informed me that starting July first, any additions or new buildings can no longer, you can't add in oil or gas heating, it has to be electric.
so I've heard
Is
that,
that a state law though, or
I
is that
guess.
certain
So-
communities that have stretch built, because Mendon is not,
so I would say that
According to
I've
them,
heard
that's
that. Who's the builder?
Stan Labasti.
Okay, I have heard it, but I know like all the builders, they're still doing like propane, so can you do propane?
If before July first.
I think it's only,
I would rather not.
Let's look at this law, that's ridiculous.
no, I think it's only if we opt into this new, there's different levels of stretch.
I don't think,
And I know we did a stretch code, but this is a 2023 update. That's a question for John
But the
Anderson
builder should
specifically.
When do you get him?
Yeah, good luck, well, we did adopt a stretch code, but I think we adopted a certain version of it. Isabella actually was explaining this to me.
But wouldn't the state take,
Hang on. No, like each town adopts a different level of building code, and then I think
yeah,
they incite us to do that because they'll give us incentives, if you adopt this code, you get more grant money.
we're all gonna look into this.
But we did
Somebody-
something.
One of the agents in my office was telling me, she was
I
like, they're not
pretty
doing
convinced,
this
like,
anymore.
Mendon adopted the stretch.
I think it was a different town, I think we're talking about a different town, but.
Maybe, oh no.
The builders that would be
The
pretty-
stretch energy code, including future additions, amendments, and modifications there too, so we may be under this stretch 2023.
And the mini splits are, so that's another thing to think about too, so where is the placement of those? Those are pretty big, like,
They would-
units,
Right, so they would be in that back end.
the back end.
We're trying to see if the furnace we have now can handle what, like,
Because
added
it's pre-existing, you could still kind of use that and then complement it with the mini splits. Okay.
we also just replaced our furnace like a year and a half ago, so.
Oh,
I'm like,
lovely.
yeah.
And you have oil,
Mhm.
so,
So we're, yeah,
I mean, oil's
trying to
expensive
see if it can
anyway.
handle the load.
Yeah.
That bigger portion of the house, and then do mini splits for the
In the
back.
Yeah. See that? Are you gonna do central air units in addition to the mini splits, or the mini splits would handle the cooling?
Mini splits would handle the cooling.
Okay.
Central air and bigger portion of the house, maybe further down the road.
Yeah.
But not really.
And I'm only asking those because of the units, and because if you were to add those, like, I think we just say don't put any like units on the front of the house or like in
Oh, yeah, no.
visible areas.
Yeah, I don't know. I just talked about this. But I don't know what applies to my towns.
Well.
When I talked to the architect, he made it sound like it was the entire state and not individual towns.
Well, I think a lot of them have adopted this stretch code because that was part of being a green community. But I'm not clear on the different levels of it. Let me,
Okay, so
Windows
windows,
would be green, too.
that's
window siding and then,
the chimney.
yeah.
Candy.
And so you wanted to
Work
wait
out.
for historic to come
Did you work
into?
out?
well, I think,
Yeah, that's okay.
I mean, I can't speak for historic, but I think
I
what's
was
being
telling them
demolished
that
is
was
purely
part of the new
outbuilding
addition is
that
for moving
needs to
that,
happen,
so
that
that they can be
we,
back.
what do we have to wait and wait 6 months? Why?
Were they?
No.
Last time I talked to
Yeah.
them, they were getting a
And
place up. on
clearly,
the street.
The intent of this is to preserve
Oh,
the
they were
original
looking
house.
at Pleasant.
Right.
Pleasant Street.
So, at least for me, I think this is in keeping with what we're
Right.
trying to accomplish.
Right.
Without delay.
Just because they.
I think like,
I just feel like we might as well go through the whole process and do it right.
That's what he told me, I talked to him a little while ago.
how do you
Yeah.
feel like, with,
He was nervous about that.
We have to hold a
like,
hearing.
because he,
okay,
Hundred
when I
percent.
talked to him,
I
I
feel
feel
like
afraid like if something
for the
would happen
hearing,
to
I
me
think we
and she'd
need
be
to
able to come
on
out.
the street.
Right, well, I think that's.
So this was,
How is she doing?
Because I
she's
think
good,
that's.
I mean, she,
I talked to her on the phone. She sounded
right, she
great.
sounds great,
I
she's
think
very
it sounds
good at
fine, but like, I don't know.
But yeah, this,
I was leaving her alone.
Shall we set,
yeah, she doesn't like to be alone,
here, let's
she's,
just,
she's.
this is, no, this is recorded, so just, so you know, okay. I don't want you to like have a whole personal discussion, that's all. But, so should we set, I mean, we could talk about dates and then I can compare. I think if we just stick to these Mondays, I think the next one, so Memorial Day is the 27th, so potentially Monday the 20th. I don't know if that works, and then hopefully it'll work for the rest of them.
Right, the hearing.
Yeah, because we need enough time that we need 2 weeks to put it in the paper and
That's fine.
send a bunch of letters. Or some other dates that.
The 20th is fine for me.
Everything's
Is
totally
that- Are
crazy.
you done?
Today was my last.
I thought you're done with your
semester.
semester. Yeah.
I'm done on Friday, but I.
Okay, almost
Yes,
there.
I'm good.
You must be tired.
Very, I'm, like, my brain is dead.
Yeah.
What time?
I'm thinking do it at 7 for everything. I mean, historic doesn't have much going
So
on.
we'll do a share.
other than the record
All
room
right.
project.
7.
Okay.
Yeah,
See, I had 7 on my calendar. but-
so
See.
that's what we're thinking,
And I
maybe
looked and then, yeah.
maybe we mix them up.
I did too, and that's why I sent out a reminder today. I was like,
Okay.
something's
Then I-
wrong here.
Then I opened yours just before
Yeah.
and I realized, oops.
I was saying this before, maybe we should just do joint meetings going forward. It's enough of the same people and there's very few tasks that are one or the other. Because there's not, like I said, there's not a whole lot going on.
And if like we don't have a quorum, could we, if there's other.
Well, I had thought so both boards can appoint alternates. and
That's what I
had
mean.
Suggested that we have members appointed as alternates to the others, because often we run into like just ethics conflicts with,
Mhm.
like Jane's in a butter to literally everything.
Right.
But she's out sick anyway.
Yeah. But just in general, like, so that was always an issue, and now Kathy, because Rich bought all those properties, now Kathy's in a butter. So just having a backup
Right.
to step in, or potentially, I mean, either that or maybe reconsider if people are, maybe it's worth, appointing to both commissions. I mean, there's enough, the historic commission is Kathy, myself, Connie Beal, Debbie Bro, Christina, and Karen Lee. District, I think Bucky's pretty much done once his term is up. I haven't talked to Jane if she wants to continue. And then there's us, there's another vacancy that we haven't filled.
I think she might have been here tonight, but she's sick.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Connie's got a lot of stuff going on.
I didn't think she was going back on when her term was
That's what I thought, but, well, she's up, yeah, Connie's up June
up.
30th,
Yeah.
so she might be done. Is that new Bucky was done. You're up. You and I are up apparently
All right.
in 24. You know, Bucky's term expired. Maybe he's not even, I don't know why
I
he's.
don't really think he,
I think he's only made one meeting.
So,
in like
well, he had
3 years ago, there's no way that he continued that.
No, well, he was so busy with.
Yeah, the Sue and stuff.
Yeah. But anyway,
All right, so we have a date, so let's shoot for the 20th at 7 PM for May, and that will be the hearing.
we'll probably have to be in here because there may be planning upstairs. I don't remember.
Do you want me to reach out to the architect and just see if he can like get a front facing view?
That would be very helpful. I
Okay.
think, I think some of us can picture it, but I think there's others that might really need that front facing view to get that perspective.
Okay.
Unless it's gonna cost you a lot of money.
If he's like, he might just be able to like have it like on the computer, like that view, maybe he just didn't
Right.
produce
I
it.
don't think he would do that, but
Still wanna make it.
no, he's a family friend. So.
Okay. And then,
Can I just,
it'd be helpful for you too to see it, because I think
Yeah.
like you might be like, oh, I don't want that,
I know.
change it.
for the
Oh, the shed.
demo, just real quick. So this is just a little bump out that has to go.
Yes, and
This
some
way.
bulkhead next to it, and the bulkhead will be moved to the side because the addition will be coming out there.
Okay.
Historically, but I don't see that as an issue. I just think that, like, I think the intent here is to see the preservation of the structure.
Mhm.
So the fact that you're doing an addition and allowing you to keep that building instead of demolishing and building all
Right.
new,
Mhm.
that's
And
more
that-
important than that little shed in the
That's
back.
what I was trying to say, that's added on, like it's sitting
Yeah.
less than.
Yeah, you can tell because the windows are different. I mean, was it added on in like
The
1910, maybe?
50s
Yeah.
or 70s, I think.
I think that,
Your uncle put me.
Yes.
from historic perspective, I think it's a non-issue, but at least then we'll have them affirm that that's fine.
What's the year on the original part of the house?
1890. Nice.
I actually thought it was even older than
Then my parents' house was like 1780.
Yeah. that. Yes.
Yeah, you might as well just join. We just discussed recruiting everyone the other day. Where I don't know, we had a bunch of stuff.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you good with a potential meeting date of May 20th for a joint for both?
Yeah.
Okay. There's one, yeah.
This is Elizabeth Young. I think.
Let me text Kathy and just.
I walk around.
Thank you.
With her.
Enjoy your evening.
Good luck.
Thanks.
We're coming over for tea.
Okay.
Give you something for me?
Yeah, I was gonna say this,
Okay,
is for
great.
you.
Terrific.
Did you know just open that store?
No,
No.
Okay.
The girl that opened the store was one of the black on Madison Street.
Okay.
I was gonna take a picture and send you to sign up.
Oh, yeah, I did see it.
Have you been in? Ellen said you
I
went, it's
haven't
really nice.
been.
Lonnie to
It looks cute.
Yeah, it does.
She had, well, you know her, Ruth. She, I think she's good. What was her husband was the one, he was the president at one point.
Look.
Her husband, Joe, wasn't he the president of the society for a bit?
Yeah, for
I
you.
think she went to URI for fashion or something.
Oh,
She was on our committee too.
Yeah. That's
She took an old dress that we had down there and got a uniform. We had a baseball uniform, which we done in
Nice. Can we close the district meeting, or do we have any?
Yeah, and let me just look at the agenda real quick. I think these minutes might just be on here as placeholders. I feel like we voted on stuff.
I didn't,
Honestly,
we did not vote on those because I never produced them.
don't remember. Maybe they were ones that I was clearing out.
I think we need those.
Maybe that's why those are on there like that. You're correct. That's probably what I did there. All right, so that's good. There's no other applications. Fortunately, it sounds like we got nothing from John. Let me just double check, there's nothing. Oh, hang on, there was a request that came, and she never answered me, about 30 Washington Street.
Oh, the panels, they wanted to move.
Yeah,
Where the panels, we agreed to put the panels.
Oh, really?
here, let me read her email. I have a question about the approved certificate. If we shifted the ground amount closer to the left side of the property, but still maintained the property setbacks, added the vegetation as discussed, do we need to come back to the board? See attached, which I'll share in a second.
Why are they moving it?
I don't know, I assume there's some
Didn't she say? in the
obstacle,
email?
economic reason. I don't think she specified that.
Oh.
So if I'm understanding this, so it's moving with this arrow? I was a little confused.
So if you're confused, maybe they should come back
I mean, I think
and explain it.
It's,
it would be better if they were further back. It's always gonna be better. Maybe her email.
but she's bumping them over.
Oh, shit. If we shifted it closer to the left side, which I think is where that circle is. That's what confused me. Let me see if I can-
Because the arrow's pointing right.
I was gonna say, unless her left is different than mine.
Well, I replied to her and said, you know, we need to talk about it, and then she never answered me. So it would be kind of nice if they would,
Could they come in there?
Oh, maybe, is it going
He
where the
said that we
circle
were
is?
meeting tonight.
well, I replied to her and said, you know, here's the deal.
Yes.
Because if it goes where the circle is, it's definitely your seat.
I think that the circle,
It's a
I
lot
think,
closer,
yeah, and now it's basically in the street.
so I think,
Well, like right in the view there.
They should come back.
I think it's just confusing as to what they're asking. So
I know, but if they don't come back, you can't ask them.
right. I mean, I don't necessarily think we need to have a whole new hearing, but I think it at least needs to be talked about to say.
I think what she's saying is they're going where she circled it, because that's the
Right.
left. I don't know
Yeah.
why she has an arrow there. Maybe she's saying that getting rid of where those were or something.
So I think.
And she
that-
threw it in, she got excited with her tools. An arrow here, square here, circle there.
It's this.
Right, color this purple, yeah.
Stop sharing. Share screen.
But we don't. Did you want to
I'm reading it.
But we told.
Herman, I think is,
There's so much information.
I think we left that. So I think it,
Like that, it's gonna be so obnoxious if they do that and then they put them in there.
Starting from there.
What about the new one?
Yeah, cool.
No, I think they should have to come back. I mean, just look at it.
Yeah.
what was that again, 31?
I went for a tour, I was in the historical building and I ended up crying.
Herman again. Or at least make a comment that just says, you know,
They just wanna push it over there because they're getting more sun. You know what I mean?
You know?
Yeah,
You.
and they take it all and sick. I was like stone wall and disappeared.
so do we want to adjourn and switch to the other meetings? Let's do this.
Sure, I just wanna be able to
So
find a
5:20,
way to touch base with
Yeah.
her.
I'm gonna tell her we need to have her come back, so the next meeting is on May 20th.
Because her drawing's confusing
They were
too.
told they could attend tonight and they didn't even respond, so. Maybe they decided not to bother moving them. You know,
Or they're just unmoving.
I mean, it's hard because now the other, you know, technically, there's the state law, we don't have that much room.
Right.
This is ground mounted, it's a little different than a rooftop. But we can't just ban it outright.
Right, but the whole idea around it was that they couldn't put them on their roof. And so they went with the ground. And they are gonna hide them sort of in the back. Now they're gonna just put them right on the street.
And if you don't talk to them and they just do it, then we have no comeback.
Yeah. So let's adjourn this.
All right.
I'm gonna stop the recording.